Thank you very much, Soundy, and it's time for Coffee Hour. And today we'll be talking about a very important topic. So it will be about yesterday's celebration here at the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation about the 150th birth anniversary of Marconi, because that really relates to SLBC. And at the same time, tomorrow is May Day, and we'll be talking a little bit more in detail about the May Day and also about the plans for tomorrow. So we have with us Mr. Sugeshwara Sendhira, Media Advisor to the Prime Minister, and also he was in charge of the Sinhala broadcast of All India Radio back in the days. And a very good morning to you.
Good morning.
And, well, I did mention that today we will be talking about Marconi's 150th birth anniversary, which was celebrated here at SLBC premises itself. So, it relates to you, Mr. Sendhira, because you have been in charge of the Sinhala broadcast of All India Radio as well. So radio is something which really interests you, if I'm not mistaken. So shall we talk a little bit about the celebration yesterday?
Sure. Radio is not only for me, for every Sri Lankan has a special interest, because we are proud to be the first broadcasting station of entire Southeast Asia. So that gives us, that's why radio is tremendously popular even today, despite invasion of visual media and various other social media platforms. But still radio has a niche in Sri Lanka, and I'm sure it will continue to be. And all this the credit goes to Guglielmo Marconi, who invented communication way back, 150 years ago, or rather 125 years ago, because he was born 150 years ago, and it was his 150th anniversary, which was held fittingly at Sri Lanka Broadcasting Station. And the Prime Minister was not planning to speak, but when he was asked to speak, what he said was Radio Ceylon. The entire Asia was listening to Radio Ceylon at that time, and when talking about Marconi, Edmund Hillary and Tenzin, when they climbed Mount Everest, after the resting for a while and having a chocolate to celebrate the achievement, they decided to switch on their radio, and the first station they could get was Radio Ceylon. But Prime Minister said, while we are proud about that today, the radio is not there, Ceylon is not there, we are Sri Lanka and Broadcasting Corporation. With that he said that entire mankind, grateful to Marconi's great gift to the world is for communication. He started in a small way in a village, his villa. First he was able to have a communication signal 2 kilometers. Then now it is across the continents. So this was very interesting. And he was not only an inventor, but he was also a service-oriented person, scientist. He won the Nobel Prize way back in 1930s. And all that accolade, funds, gifts he received, he invested to further his further developments of communication, and his communication development later among the radio signals between the ships, and resulted in saving even Titanic. They said the Titanic people who were rescued after the disaster, and they went to see Marconi to thank him, because they were rescued because some of the boats could arrive on time to take them to the shore. So this event was organized by Parliamentary Friendship Association, Sri Lanka-Italy Parliamentary Friendship Association, of which the chairman is Udayana Kirindigoda, Member of Parliament. And MP Kirindigoda, in his speech, said he was very thankful to Yadamini Gunawardena, secretary of that association, for organizing this. It was his idea to have this event. So he had spoken to people like chairman of SLBC, then Italian ambassador and various other stakeholders, and also the institute in Bologna, where Marconi was born, and they do have an institution called Marconi Foundation, of which Dr. Giulia Fortunato came for this event yesterday. She said this was the first event of Marconi 150th anniversary celebration outside Italy. So 4 days ago they had in Italy and now in Sri Lanka. So they too understand the importance of Marconi and connection in Sri Lanka. In fact, Marconi visited Sri Lanka in 1930s.
So that certainly was a very historic event as well. And yesterday was certainly a celebration for all of us here at Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. As you did mention that it's well fitted to have it at a venue of this nature because of the history we have. And let us also talk a little bit about what's happening tomorrow. So before we get to that, let's talk about the ancient origins of May Day as a spring festival.
As you all know, Chicago's rally and the workers first time they got organized, and the police shooting resulted in death of many workers, and that was the beginning of the May Day. And in Sri Lanka it was first May Day. All the workers for the movement for workers' rights came in the 1930s with the arrival of socialist leaders like Dr. N.M. Perra-Kollian, De Silva, S. Wickramasinghe, Peter Kenneman, Philip Gunawardena, Leslie Gunawardena. That lot came and started a massive socialist movement in Sri Lanka. In A. Gunasinghe held the first rally on May Day in 1933. After that, the police, of course, didn't intervene because there was a small crowd gathered at the first rally. But in 1940, they banned May Day rally, and 1940 May Day rally resulted in the killing of Govinda, one of the workers who participated at the rally. Then 1942 there was another death of a worker due to police shooting. That was in 1942. Kandasamy was killed. So with that, then there was another episode related to the workers' movement. At the May Day rally of 1940, when the Breast-Gradle, one of the socialist leaders who was a planter, British planter, now later on he became an Australian, British planter who joined the workers' movement, socialist movement, and police issued arrest warrant because he joined the rally. What happened was he went underground with the support of the Lanka Sama Samaja Party leaders in Sri Lanka. And then on the May Day rally at Goldface, when the police had tipped that he would appear at the May Day rally, and they surrounded the place, so he did appear, got onto the stage and gave a brief speech for 5 minutes denouncing the colonial powers and supporting the socialist movement in Sri Lanka. And he disappeared from the stage itself because the workers were ready to disguise him under the stage. They had a small platform. Under the platform, they changed
his appearance
and took him away in the very eyes of the British police force. But they couldn't find him. Years later, he was found after the war in 1945 and expelled from Sri Lanka. So this sort of romantic incidents have given an additional incentive to the movement of socialism in Sri Lanka, the workers' rallies. In 1953, we had a very unfortunate situation. The workers for the first time took a massive rally, and there was shooting by the police, resulted in killing of 9 people. And the protest was so strong, the then Prime Minister Dudley Senanayake had to resign. And Sir John Kotalawala became the Prime Minister because of the resignation of Dudley.
So that's the history of what has happened in terms of May Day rallies in Sri Lanka. And also, how did May Day become associated with the labor movement, if you take a look back in time?
May Day, of course, it was the workers' day. The workers, internationally too, the workers didn't have rights. They were not allowed to have trade unions. So with the rally, the May Day was after the Chicago massacre, and the May Day was declared the International Day of the Workers. And all the trade union rights, the workers who rallied around this on May Day to highlight the need for, restoration, or rather giving the rights of the workers. So in Sri Lanka, initially the workers were banned from during the British period as well as early period of the government of independent Sri Lanka. But in 1956, the government was formed by S.W.R.D. Bandaranaike with the support of the socialist leaders Philip Gunawardena. So the government, one of the first act of the government was declaring May Day as a national holiday on 1956. That was the recognition of the rights of the workers, the first official recognition that workers have a day for them, and also trade union rights were given to the workers in 1956.
And let us also talk about the significance of the Haymarket Affair in the May Day history.
Beg your pardon?
The Haymarket Affair in the May Day history.
Well, I have, although as a student I read about this Haymarket thing, I'm afraid I'm not fully conversed to give the picture to the listeners in Sri Lanka. It is, of course, one of in the United States, the workers didn't have any rights whatsoever. It was the slavery existed, and together with the workers' rights, the gradually apartheid system also collapsed in the United States as well as some of the African countries, and the Haymarket, the Chicago rally, all these are great symbols of this movement for workers' rights.
And let's also talk about the traditional May Day activities which takes place.
Traditionally, it's a march. Generally, not exactly protest march, but to make the people aware of the workers, the contribution to the economy of the nation, and also to bring it to the notice of the people and the government, and to win the rights for the genuine rights of the workers. So this was the whole thing. But what happened in Sri Lanka was, as many analysts recently said, I read one article yesterday by Professor Tudor Veerasingham. Now, he said how politicization of the May Day, that happens in the mid-50s and later mid-70s. The United National Party and the so-called rightist parties did not have any May Day rallies from the beginning. But all the leftist parties held rallies since 1933, even before independence. They continued their tradition of every year having a May Day rally. Even after split of the socialist movement into various parties, LSSP split into MEP, VLLSSP, Communist Party, all these parties continue to have rallies. Among the centrist parties, Sri Lanka Freedom Party, under the banner of MEP, then 1956, started celebrating the May Day. But in 1977, the United National Party government decided to get into the show, but they made it a cultural event instead of workers' rights. But that was a very shrewd movement. With that, the rightist parties or the non-leftist parties too could gather massive crowds to their meetings, because they started, it was not merely, their rallies were not merely political meetings, but also they invited popular singers, actors, actresses to the stage, and made it a more concert type of
more of a celebration.
I remember in the first rally they got down then popular Gemini Ganeshan and Shivaji Ganeshan, Savitri, the South Indian actors. Then Mohammad Rafi, the singer, came for one of the rallies. So with that, the goal-face rally of the ruling party then became the most popular venue for the workers too, especially for the youths. Most of them were not workers, but the youths and other segments of the society too decided to participate in this, because there's a cultural aspect to it. And even the leftist parties decided to have similar cultural aspect of it. Even in JVP in the 1980s, they started getting down singers to the JVP rallies, even popular singers like Kapuge and Nanda Malini. They sang at JVP May Day rallies.
So there's also a difference in, do we see a significant difference in the way May Day is celebrated in different countries?
I think it is part of the transformation of the society, and the things as the time passes, everything changes. You see, instead of now the political system, the political campaigns also have undergone a tremendous change.
Everything has evolved, I'd say.
That's right. There's a lot of cultural aspects in most of the political campaigns too. So similarly, May Day too underwent that transformation.
So May Day falls tomorrow. What's in store in Sri Lanka for May Day tomorrow?
This is supposed to be the election year in Sri Lanka. So, slated to have the presidential election towards the end of this year, and sometime next year the parliamentary elections. So because of that, the May Day, I'm sure tomorrow's May Day rally will be a matter of testing strength, the numbers, that will the main focus of all the political parties. So the parties will focus on getting down numbers. You see, either the people are willingly come, the party workers and party supporters, those who are sympathizers with, they come willingly to, and also those committed workers, the genuine trade union activists, they come genuinely to participate in the May Day rally. At the same time, the politicians, to show their strength, will get their supporters from faraway villages. So there will be massive crowds in Colombo, I'm sure, tomorrow.
And there's a traffic plan too.
Yes, the test of strength. But I doubt whether it will be the actual reflection of strength of the party in this, because the numbers, they are limited to, say, even 1 million comes, then we have many more voters. So, well, it is, anyway, it's a show of strength.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sugeshwara Sendhira, for being a part of the Coffee Hour interview segment. And thank you so much for sharing a lot of history in terms of radio and Marconi, and also about the May Day, in fact, because it's very timely to talk about it since May Day falls tomorrow. Thank you so much once again for being a part of Coffee Hour.
Great to be with you and tell our views to the speaker, and thanks a lot to our listeners. Thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity to speak.
Thank you so much once again, and it's back to Soundi to give us some good entertainment. Over to you.